Hello, and welcome to the Battle of Antietam. So the speed of this video has been adjusted in sections, but the first thing I want to do is show you my army. First Corps and Second Corps are almost all 1250 or something, and Third Corps is a little bigger, and you only need about 2 divisions, and that's all I can do without affecting scaling. So the first thing I want to do is thank Aetius and Spectrum and Pandakraut for, well, helping me a great deal in this series and helping me a great deal to understand this game. And Pandakraut is, well, hopefully he's working on some things that I'll be able to talk about later. So in this game I get, this battle I get 7-1. And 7-1 is a really good outcome because my best units don't do all the fighting. In fact, I have them sit out a lot of the battle so that Second Corps and Third Corps can get experience. So some of the units are a little bigger in Third Corps because they're 1-star. And one of the divisions just sits outside of Burnside's bridge and doesn't do anything. So I have 140,000 and I'm going to get 360,000, so I'm going to have 400,000 at the end of this battle. The enemy numbers are a little large, 69 to 74, but we're going to kill 35,000 in this battle, so yeah, we're going to drive those numbers down. Someone mentioned in the comments that it might be a good idea to actually push scaling up in some battles in order to inflict more casualties on the manpower pool. So we'll have to see how that goes. They're basically, the first part of the game is, or the campaign is everything up to Antietam. Then there's the middle campaign, and that's after Antietam to, I don't know, Chickamauga maybe. And then there's the end game. And if you make it to Antietam, I think you've got it made as the Union. So anyway, I skipped over the deploying the army. You can see 1st Division taking up a really good position, and 2nd Division is coming in, and I'm taking my time deploying my forces. The thing I'm looking for is how big are these enemy units? And he has an oversized cav unit that's about 1,000, and we just tear this guy apart. He's got 3 stars, and he's very aggressive. And because he's very aggressive, he just gets torn apart, so watch how he gets destroyed. And so I go into battle with dismounted or detached skirmishers and my sniper unit on the front line, and then when the cav attacks, these guys are supposed to fall back and the infantry takes over and gives a volley at close range. Also, the artillery is not doing badly. So one of the things I want to do is entice him into attacking with detached skirmishers, and I will do that the entire battle. So there will be detached skirmishers at all times, pretty much. And then as my detached skirmishers take losses, they'll fall back behind the line, rejoin the unit, and another detached skirmisher will be broken off. So yeah, this goes really well. Very happy to see him advance and take some shots. Very happy to get into melee, and the second he gets into melee, my infantry can put a volley into him. I'm pretty sure he loses every melee. And one of the things I like to do with melee is, and you know, just to remind you, I'm investing in the melee perk. So all of my 2-star units can fight. They have some strength at melee, and the more they get into melee, the more that attribute goes up. So that's a good thing. But what I like to do is advance with units that are a couple deep. Like you just saw that there were a couple units deep. So when the first unit gets into melee, the units right behind the melee unit can all fire into the melee fight. That gives me a huge advantage. And in this case, it inflicted significant losses on that 3-star unit. So what you'll see in this is that the enemy does scale to me. I'm between 12 and 1,300 for a lot of my units, some units at 1,400. He has some oversized units. He has one green unit that I see, no stars, that's 1,600, but most of his units are around the size of my units. So the thing about scaling is if I were to have more units in my army, the enemy would have the same number of units, but they would be bigger. So it's really easy to find yourself facing a whole bunch of enemy units that are 3 stars and 2,900 men. So I am not doing that this time. I've tried that strategy and it's really not that much fun. So I'd like to get rid of this 3-star cav unit. I'd like to take him out. And every time he advances, he takes lots of losses. So this is going to work out real well. And you'll notice that 2nd Division came in, and now I'm resting them, and I'm bringing the artillery up. So I didn't want those units to advance into the woods and get the battle started over there until the artillery got up. And now the artillery gets up, and they advance. And I'm still picking on this 3-star cav unit on the left side of the map. But I want to get into the wood line and move the artillery up. So move the infantry a little bit, move the artillery up, and get in a position to start fighting. And I'm going to initiate things with detached skirmishers. The detached skirmishers have much greater visibility, and they have nice range, and they'll take fewer losses. So get the artillery up, and then initiate things with skirmishers. So there my sniper got a nice shot. The cav is attacking again. And this is working out real well. He's coming in for another attack, and there are 2 infantry units, 2 detached skirmishers, a sniper. The infantry does a shot, and I think he's gone. I think he's dead. So I think that's the end of him. So yeah, he's gone. So I'm sending a detached skirmisher into the woods, and what I want to do is get ahead of the supply wagon. I don't have any cav on the battlefield right now. I have 4 cav units, but none of them are on the battlefield right now. So they're in 4th Division. Well, 2 cav units are in 4th Division of 1st Corps and 2 in 4th Division of 2nd Corps. So these cav divisions are really important. By the way, what I was hoping to do, and I failed, was I was hoping to get the Iron Brigade to go into 1st Division and for 1st Division to be oversized. And you can do that, but you have to fill out all of 1st Corps, so the Iron Brigade has no place else to go. It has to go into that bonus slot, which is then 7 units in 1st Division. So I didn't do that because I didn't fill out 4th Division, and so it didn't work. So probably you're better off if you're not going to fill out all of the units in, and of course all those units couldn't come in because you can only bring in so many units. But anyway, I finally get the supply wagon trapped, and I'm just going to snag him, and that's nice. What you probably want to do if you're not going to fill out all of 1st Corps, to not take that bonus perk. So I could have put a bonus perk in equipment or training or something. And then the Iron Brigade would have gone, my corps size would have been smaller. And the Iron Brigade would have gone into 1st Division, and 1st Division would have been oversized until I took that 8th or 9th perk. 9th perk, I think. So, waste of perks, probably. I was trying to outgame the game, and it backfired, so... So yeah, detached skirmishers are leading, luring the enemy on the enemy's right, luring them into the open area where my artillery can hit them. And down in the south, we have 3 units that have come on the map, one of them artillery, and I just want to hurt them as much as I possibly can. And I have an advantage. So 1 unit's already routed, the artillery's routed, and now it should be 3 infantry, a sniper, and a couple detached skirmishers against 1 unit, and anytime I can get 3 to 1, that's great. So yeah, the enemy attacked out, couldn't resist attacking detached skirmishers, and now I'm going to have 3 units cross the T, hit them right at the right in their flank and rear, and first unit routes, and second unit's going to route, and as many units as he wants to run forward will route. So that's great. And the artillery's in nice range too, so even though my units are at Sears of 1 star and a couple 2 stars, and his units are 3 stars, they're just taking a pounding, and that's working out real well. Now, the general's right there, so they're going to recover in about a second. I got caught in melee here, and my unit won, so that worked out fine. I'm not against melee combat in this playthrough. I want to build up my units to get some melee experience for upcoming battles, and use it creatively to inflict greater losses on the enemy. So, yeah, in that case, though, I got caught in melee, but again, supported by a lot of units firing into the melee, my unit wins. And then I needed to get my unit out of there, so anytime a unit's in melee, it'll be exhausted, and then you need to have it fall back and rest. That's not a big deal for me because I intend for my army to do a lot of resting to fight, inflict losses, and then have units rest and recover condition. Spend a lot of time doing that. So here's an opportunity. I see 4 artillery units on the front line. I want to get those guys. He's going crazy chasing a detached skirmisher, and I'm going to hit him in the flank, and he routes. So it's all good. So I'm moving Grant around to be in the place where the next attack is going to take place. Okay, we're going to skip all this. Yeah, more troops come in. So if you take a look at the strategic map, and I watch the strategic map a lot, you'll see more troops coming in on the top of the map, and on the right side of the map, an entire corps is coming in. They're not going to do a whole bunch until some more reinforcements come in. I don't want them to attack all by their lonesome. They'll get crushed. And I want to keep extending my right. So the left side of the map, I want to keep extending that. Eventually take Dunker Church, but I'm not in a hurry to do that. To make good use of cover. My units, though, are tired, so I decide to just get out of there for right now. And his units are fast and strong. My units are pretty exhausted, so we're just going to... We took some shots on his artillery, and now we're just going to fall back, recover some condition, and then fight again. There's no purpose in fighting with tired units. So tired units do not fire fast enough. They're terrible. You need to rest them, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just having these guys fall back, rest. The unit that has 92, the detached skirmisher that's down to 92, needs to rejoin its parent unit. The 4th Division that came in with 2 cav and 2 skirmishers, or 2 snipers, needs to come all the way to my far right flank. So I'm not going to do anything until the cav gets over there, because I want to create a great big circle where the enemy victory location is in the center of the map. Not Dunker Church, but Sunken Road. So, yeah, there's no purpose, there's no need to aggressively move, just keep degrading the enemy. I want to encircle and destroy the entire enemy force. So, and to do that, I need my 4th Division, 1st Corps to come in and get on my far right flank, and I need the troops that just came in at the top of the map, which you can see on the strategic screen, to get into the battle and extend my left flank. So yeah, I'm just falling back, and I want all of his reinforcements to go up and reinforce his attack around Dunker Church, because I want to go around that, not fight it head-to-head in the open. So yeah, I'm just falling back, and if he's not careful, I'm just going to put shots into his flank as he keeps advancing toward Dunker Church. Yep, I'm just bringing in the reinforcements. No hurry whatsoever. And he's just taking more and more casualties. I love when they try to take one of those fortified positions. I'm rolling up the 24-pound howitzers. They're going to get some nice shots. Very, very close shots. A 2-star 24-pound howitzer, even though it's 8 guns, is going to do really well. Yep, pushing up the artillery, more artillery coming in, more snipers coming in. The cav and the skirmishers are still coming around the flank. They'll get there in plenty of time. There's no rush. And once the snipers get in position, I'll need to rest them so they get condition back. Again, not a problem. And I want the inexperienced units to do most of the fighting, and I'm just having some of the 1st Division units just recover condition and get ready for the next phase. I have 2 units in the woods near Dunker Church, supported by artillery. They're doing fine. Second Division is just having a great day. So it's time to extend the right flank, the Union right, and see where the enemy units are so I can start to craft a plan how I'm going to hit them. And we woke somebody up. So yeah, he's charging. 1 unit charging into the open, and I have units all around him. So the more he advances forward after the detached skirmisher, the more hopeless his situation is. That's going to work out just fine. So he does something, the AI does something I think is good. Charging into the woods is a good idea. There's no reason that he shouldn't push my units out of those woods. There are only 2 units there, and he has a numerical advantage. So I have my units fall back, and now it's 3 units on 1 plus artillery support. And I also move a unit over to reinforce, and his unit routes. And also, his unit's down to about 400, so yeah, that's going just fine. And the more he sends guys over to Dunker Church, the more I'll send other units to reinforce, plus my artillery is right there. Should work out. And does work out. So he has a unit now that's charging my infantry. I have a 2-star against his 3-star. I'm gonna let this happen, because I have units that are gonna fire into the flank and rear of that unit, and he routes right away. My unit wins the melee. Detach a skirmisher to break the melee, and now his unit gets to retreat, taking more fire as it falls back. So yeah, good, good, and more good. My cav is in a spot to hit the enemy in the flank. Yeah, this is all working out just fine. So the reinforcements are coming in, and yeah, his artillery is standing out in the open. He has units out in the open. His line is collapsing. He has 1 brave, intrepid soul on the left side of the map that just keeps attacking. 3-star unit. And I'm thinking about charging him and just crushing him. If my artillery was a little closer, that would be better. But yep, 4 units firing into him, flank and rear, and he just routes. So one thing here is I do lose some snipers because of the sniper bug where you target somebody and then the snipers race forward. So that hopefully gets fixed someday, but I do lose, I don't know, maybe 150 snipers, I think, off the top of my head, to that stupid bug. That's expensive. That's expensive in terms of weapons, and there are only so many good sniper weapons, so that's very irritating. But surprisingly, the snipers fight really well in melee. They shouldn't fight in melee at all. They should instantly fall back. Skirmisher units should not be able to get into melee at all. So, but they do, and they do surprisingly well. So I'm about to take the clump of woods around Dunker Church, and then I'll be in good cover, and the enemy will attack. My units will be in cover with artillery support, and that'll be a very one-sided battle. Why am I having that guy? Oh, I just have him retreat to recover condition. Yeah, there's sniper way too far forward. That's a example of the bug in taking. Now I have to have infantry advance to protect the sniper unit. And it works out. We're about to get into an exchange of shots with the enemy units, and my guys are going to do just fine. It's not going to be 7-1, but it's going to be fine. So any units that approach Dunker Church will get hammered pretty hard. Now I don't want to press the attack on the top of the map or the north side of the map, because I want the enemy to come into the pocket and stay there. I don't want to drive them out of the pocket. So I need my units to wrap around the enemy, sort of like Hannibal did to the Romans. So I need to, horns of the bull, I need to wrap around the enemy and surround them and then destroy them. So I always have a tough time annihilating all of the units in the pocket because they'll, of course, rout out of the pocket. And if the routing units bump into your fresh units, they go into melee and fight to the death, which is nonsense, but that's what happens. So you have to be really careful how you do this. You have to... so I'm making an effort to reduce the enemy numbers. So the enemy is very fragile, and I don't want to push them south. I want to wrap around them, and that's exactly what's happened. If you take a look at the strategic map, you see that that's exactly what's happening. There's this like blue wall around a bunch of red dots, and it's going absolutely wonderfully. The enemy units are being routed, degraded. I'm looking at the numbers, and I see a bunch of units that are 600, 500, 400. So I want to keep hitting those guys. They're 2- and 3-star units. So they'll stand there and keep losing men, and that's perfect. That's exactly what I want them to do. Keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller, so that when they get surrounded and they do kind of they start to rush toward the exit, there's nothing left. So, but I can't... If I do that too soon, they'll escape. And I want them to be as far north as possible when the door slams shut, and I want them to do as much fighting as possible on the north end of this, and then slowly make the circle smaller and smaller. So, yeah, I'm giving them plenty of time and plenty of effort, or plenty of space to do this. I'm having the Cav pick apart his artillery that was kind of to the south. Yeah, he's attacking on the far left. That goes very badly for him because I have lots of stuff over there against that one unit. Trying to kill Longstreet, who refuses to die. Man, he's really resilient. And in the north, just waiting. Let him attack into the north all he wants to, and I want him to defend that victory location. So my little scruffy army that's on the right side is doing an amazing job. I don't expect them to do very well. I just want them to mix it up. I have a sniper unit, again, going after a unit that's retreating and charges right into melee. Actually, it's JF Browns. So I'm real bitter about losing JF Browns. But gets into melee, my units come up and fire into the rebel unit, and the rebel unit routes. So I lost some JF Browns, which I'm very bitter about. That doesn't make it better, but it was interesting that the JF Browns with supporting fire won the melee. So that was okay that they won. and kind of a surprise. But of course, the big thing is losing JF Browns. JF Browns are a premium item, and there are only so many. So, yep, hope that bug gets fixed someday. So if you notice, there are a whole lot fewer units, and you see more and more like shattered units leaving the map. And so, yeah, not only are they taking lots of losses, and the enemy unit size is shrinking, and shrinking fast. Like he marches up, takes a couple volleys from a couple units on the right side, falls back. A unit gets in melee, I'm okay with that. I would rather it be a 2-star unit with a perk in melee, but again, we win the melee because of supporting fire. Now my unit has to fall back and recover a condition, but that's okay. The Cav is doing absolutely terrific work. The number of kills they get is not as important as the great work they're doing in the south, and they're taking out artillery and shattering units, and it's just going great. In fact, I have to find things for my Cav to do. Like on the left side now of the map, there's a Cav unit that I'm just having. He's just harassing enemy units everywhere he sees them, because their flanks are exposed, so that unit can just keep popping fire into the enemy. On the right side, there's a small unit that thinks it wants to advance. That's fine. And so he'll rout and shatter. So that's exactly what we want to see. Enemy units advancing north while... And it's hard to see, but what I'm doing is I'm slowly sliding units around this pocket, like it's like a boa constrictor. That 1-star unit does not need to get into melee with that 3-star unit, so I have him fall back. I have that guy actually charge at the decisive moment, and the enemy unit on the right side, and the enemy unit is going to rout. My unit's going to rout too, so surprised I didn't lose the officer. So I have, again, more units stacked up, so I want the units behind to give supporting fire, and if that happens, we're going to win. So yeah, that really small unit on the right side is attacking. He's down to 200 and shattered. So that's what we want to do. Just keep pounding away at these guys. And notice how the artillery just keeps moving forward. Keep advancing the artillery, so that it's infantry and artillery at short range firing into these guys. The Cav is having an absolutely great day. Okay, we must not pass the bridge. If you pass the bridge, the battle ends. So you can't take the flag at Burnside's bridge. Can't do it. So do what Burnside did. Sit there and try desperately to reorganize your army, and maybe cross at the ford that's to the left of the bridge, looking from the Union side, and don't do anything constructive. Be General Burnside. Do not do anything constructive. So, yeah, because if you cross that bridge and take that flag, then a countdown timer... Well, when you take Sharpsburg, the countdown timer... Well, you'll have all the victory locations, because I'm going to have Sunken Road, I'm going to have Sharpsburg soon. And at that point, when you take Burnside's bridge, I think you have 20 minutes. And battle's over. So I don't want that to happen. I want these guys to get a lot of experience, and I have to drive down the enemy manpower pool. So the enemy is at possibly as high as 70,000, so I need to kill as many as I possibly can. And this is a huge opportunity to get lots of kills. So here's the enemy. We have a little scrum in the along the river, which is perfect because the enemy has 0 cover there, so we can do extra damage all his units look pretty weak, pretty low numbers. The cav unit was down to 200. I think it's shattered. Yeah, anyone who's down. I'm looking specifically for units that are undersized, like 300. And if I can hit them, maybe they'll shatter. So yeah, you have to be really careful at this point that his routing units do not get into melee with you unless you want to, unless you, like that unit that's 200 just shattered. But if you get into melee with somebody who's 800, they're not going to shatter. So you need to keep chipping away at these to get their numbers down before getting into melee. So I want this Harper's Ferry unit to charge and get into melee because he's got all kinds of supporting fire all around him. And it's going to be shattered and captured. So that worked out perfectly. My unit attacked, got melee experience, won. You need to win or you're going to have dead officers. So anyway, now we're down to, I only see 4 flashing lights. I captured his supply wagon, and now he's down to 3 units. And in the rest of the battle, I have my cav attacking his artillery, and I have a sniper taking long-range shots on a guy who's standing in the middle of the river. That's absolutely great. And yeah, another unit just surrendered. And that's it. So I need to let my infantry rest a little bit and recover condition after all that excitement. In the meantime, I have plenty of fairly fresh units that can offer some fire. I'm basically waiting for his reinforcements at this point. Yeah, one thing I'd recommend is take an infantry unit and put them on each of the victory locations when you take them, because the AI will try to sneak someone around. As they always do, they'll try to sneak someone around to get a victory location. So that's a good thing to do. So 2 sniper units and 2 cav units on the left side of the map took out the artillery and now own the town. I'm in no hurry to take the flag. And what I want to do is I'm going to set up a line where notice how I have artillery across the river firing into the flank of the advancing enemy units. So that's fun. So now I'm just going to advance my artillery, and I'm going to take 1st and 2nd Division and have them sweep around to my far right, and I'm going to put up a monster wall of units that are just outside the range of the river that we're looking at right now. Because I want the enemy to cross the river, which slows them down, and then take fire and retreat back into the water so I get more shots on them as they retreat. And it's going to work really well. And I'm going to bring up my artillery so my artillery gets to blast away and get a bunch of free experience too. I know that AP Hill is coming onto the battlefield. There are 3 hours left in this part of the battle, and I think the battle goes on way past this if you don't take Burnside Bridge. So I have tons of time. I want my units to rest, get condition back up, get my units that in 1st and 2nd Division and my skirmishers and cav on the far right flank, because we're going to create another pocket of enemy units and wipe them out. And why can't I kill that officer? So yeah, I had a sniper just pick away at that artillery unit until it was until there's almost nothing left. That was easy. So I'm using the bar at the bottom to move my units around by division as much as possible. So I'll highlight, say, 1st Corps and see where all the guys are, and I'll highlight like 1st Division and want them to move. And so, yeah, I'm having guys move into position. Now I need to get my artillery in close support. And yeah, the only thing I would do differently is I would get maybe a couple of units around Burnside Bridge to go across the ford. I would definitely do that next time. So you learn something every time you play, because it turns out that that works out just fine. Get some shots on that little artillery unit. Cav is going off to the far right flank. Notice how I'm just kind of staging units outside of Sharpsburg right now. Just staging them and resting them. First Division doesn't need to do anything. The fighting needs to take place with all of my units that have less experience. They need to get experience. So they're pretty much in place, and the artillery is pretty much up. And here comes the enemy, right into the river, and detached skirmishers luring them across the river. And now we're going to hit them with all kinds of artillery. Look at that artillery. Just absolutely, I love it. I love the artillery doing that kind of work. And then when the enemy retreats, I have to move the infantry forward so they get shots on the enemy as they're in the water. And yeah. So they're down to about 600. And if I can drop them down to 400 or 300 going across the river, that's great. And then hopefully they come back. Hopefully they charge right back into the water. And there the artillery just racking up free kills. Yeah, his reinforcements came in, charged right into the water, and they all retreated. So that's terrific. Now, if you'll notice, the cav is on the far right. The infantry is moving up through the town. The artillery is moving forward. Pretty lopsided at this point. I was going to say there's no chance that I don't win the battle. I mean, look how much of the bar at the top is blue compared to red, and his reinforcements, I'm sure, these are the reinforcements. I mean, this is all he's going to get. But in my opinion, because this is almost 1-to-1, it's almost like 44,000 to 44,000 are the final numbers. 1-to-1, the enemy doesn't have a chance. The only thing that makes it interesting is that as the North, your army comes in piecemeal. So you get a small number of troops to start, and then you get reinforcements and reinforcements. And how you apply those troops, if you're too aggressive too early, you can take a lot of casualties. But if you're very calculated in how you play and you wait for your reinforcements and you attack where you have advantage, even though the enemy is mostly 2- and 3-star units, which they are. I mean, look, we fought almost entirely 2- and 3-star units. A lot of these, it seems like a high percentage were 3 stars. And that's okay, because so he has a couple of units advancing right now. He's in the water, 0 cover, and I'm hitting him with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 infantry units and a dozen artillery units. And yeah. So the only thing he gets for having all these 3-star units is that they're going to stand with their high morale and die. That's the only thing he's going to get. And look, they're still coming. They're still coming into the water. And could not be happier. Yeah, they come up, and I'm actually having my units fall back so he gets into the water itself. It doesn't matter. He routes. And he took a bunch of casualties. And keep in mind, I have artillery across the river on the right that, you can't see right now because I'm of how I have the map positioned, that's firing into the rear of that unit, so he's really screwed. And he has another unit right in the water, getting 0 cover, taking lots of casualties. And I'm going to move all of my sniper units over to the far right flank. Supply wagons, officers, getting morale up to 100, letting all of my army get 100% condition. Yeah, he doesn't have much of an army left. But if I attack his last bit of troops, let's say the enemy has 10,000, and if you attack very aggressively without using good tactics, he can inflict 1-to-1 losses. What I want to do is I want to inflict 10-to-1 losses in this part of the battle because the enemy's position is hopeless. And I'm probably inflicting way more than 10-to-1, even with my 1-star units. I could have inflicted even more damage if I had done this with my 2-star units, but I need my 1-star units to get experience. That is a very brave little band of soldiers right there trying to cross the, not the 400, but the one right behind that. So that guy should be about to shatter. There's not much left of him. And here comes this brave little unit taking 100 rounds of artillery. Not much left. So in here comes another suicidal charge by a 3-star unit. Look at all that artillery just firing into that guy. And because he has 3 stars, he's going to make it all the way to the water where he has 0 cover so he can take even more casualties. Thank you for the artillery experience. I'm just racking up artillery experience in my supporting artillery units. So we're deploying on the enemy left flank where I'm pretty sure there's absolutely nothing. All of my cav, all of my skirmishers. Oh, there is something over there. There are more reinforcements coming. They're running in. And I'm going to let them go all the way to the river before I attack. Yes, AP Hill, charge, take that objective. And there he goes, charging bravely. Move my commanders up. Yeah, everyone gets a free shot. I like how when the unit's routing, it can't even fire back. It just stands there and takes losses for no point. I should detach a skirmisher so I can have greater visibility of what the enemy's doing, but I send an infantry unit forward to take shots. Yeah, those 1855s have nice range and shattered unit. Gone. So this is going to go well. My infantry in the town should have very good cover. And yeah, lots of artillery support. This should be a lot of fun. Harper's Ferries. Yeah, I don't know why it is, but the enemy really, really thinks it needs to charge across the river to the right, which doesn't make any sense at all. But that's what they do, and I say let them. And that unit crossing the river right now is going to be destroyed. Anyone who walks up to the town itself, my unit's in really good cover. Excellent units with Harper's Ferries are going to just tear these guys up. So here's a fairly large unit, stepping up 3 stars. And I'm checking to see what damage he's doing. Oh, that unit has over 1,000 casualties. Okay, so I spent a lot of time showing you that to show you how patiently I just tore the enemy apart. And then finally I do attack with the right, and when I do, there's not a whole lot there. And yeah, there's that scrappy little skirmisher unit that's oversized that needs to shrink in size so I can give them better weapons than the Sharps 55s that they've been stuck with the entire game. But I don't have enough good weapons to give them, and because they're too big and they won't take casualties. So look what happens now. They're too big and they won't take casualties. They're just racking up kills. So yeah, he's just standing there firing at close range into the enemy, and the enemy's not doing anything to him. So yeah, and I'm hoping somebody like fires into him, and no, he's just getting kills. So yeah, normally if you push the enemy hard, they'll retreat back into the wooded area around the victory location. He's not even going to make it to the woods. He's going to get torn up here, and I wouldn't mind getting some melee experience for my cav. My melee cav needs some more experience and some kills. And yeah, so they get to play, and the artillery has a good time. The cav gets to play. Skirmishers get to fire some shots. Everybody has a good time. Yep, and the last unit is captured. And that's it. I don't even take the flag. The enemy is wiped out. So yeah, 35,000, 7 to 1 almost is like 6.9 something. 7 to 1, and 20% medicine reduces that. Very, very happy with those results. 35,000 enemy casualties. That should knock down the manpower pool. So yeah, this battle was a lot of fun. And when you master scaling, and again, thanks Atius and thanks Spectrum for showing me how to fight this way with smaller units. And it is a ball to fight this way. This playing on Major General has been a riot. Looking forward to the rest of the campaign. Highly recommend it, but you have to get scaling under control. I've tried to do it several times without getting scaling under control, and it is not fun. But this was fun. Really enjoyed this. Yeah, we achieved all the goals. So yeah. Oh, we have to inflict at least 10% more casualties on the enemy. We did that. So 1,500, 1,500, and the best unit was an 1855, not a Harper's Ferry unit. So yeah, sniper unit up there at 1,200. A cav rifle unit at 900. Yeah, but what I really like is there's a nice distribution of casualties inflicted on the enemy. 24-pound howitzers, they're only 8 guns, and they still did pretty good. 700, 600, not bad, not great, but you'll see that they did, their experience went up. So taking a look at just Cav just had a great day. 900, 700, and yeah, just the 59s are wonderful weapons. I love my rifle. The 55s did good. Great day. I love rifle Cav, which were awesome historically. So here's the artillery. They did really well. The 6-pound rifles are an amazing gun, not to be discounted. Yeah, some of these units did not do great, but some of them were not really involved in much of the battle. Skirmishers, 1200, 691 for the JF Browns. Okay, that's all right. Just short of 600 for the next two, and then 500 JF Browns, 380, and there's my little Sharps 55 that came in right at the end of the battle and got 200 kills. Oh, but did lose 77, so yeah, the unit's still too large. 334, I don't think I have enough guns. And all kinds of promotions. Loving the promotions. I now have a bunch of 2-star generals. Look at that. That is absolutely terrific. Everybody gets a promotion. And the enemy was fighting with Harper's Ferries. Oh, yeah, Harper's Ferries. The enemy was fighting with Harper's Ferries. How cool is that? So I now got a big pile of Harper's Ferries. I will take that. I will take those Harper's Ferries. Thank you very much. It's going to be really cheap to upgrade the Iron Brigade to full size. Oh, I have 500,000. 500,000 in cash, and I think I lost one officer. Did I lose one? Yeah, lost one officer, which is amazing. So, yeah, really, really pleased with this battle. This was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed watching it. It was really fun to fight, and I hope you have a great time fighting the Battle of Antietam in your campaign. Thanks for watching.